My name is Chevelle Sindad White.
What do you do?
I am a school aide at the Bronx High School of Science.
All right. Where and how did you grow up?
I grew up in the Bronx.
How did you grow up?
I grew up in Edenwall housing,
Mm.
which is in the hood.
Right. How was that like?
My experience there was great.
That's great. Awesome. And what year are we talking, if you don't mind saying?
We actually moved, my family moved there in the 70s.
In the seven. Okay. So where did you live before that? Or you grow up? You were born and raised there, but your family moved there in the 70s.
No, I wasn't born and raised there. I was born and raised in the South Bronx.
Mm.
And then as a young child, we moved to Edenwall housing.
Okay. Okay. Right. Um, how was it like living? Because if when I see the projects now, right? I see, and I got here when I was 15, so that was like in 2006. So I lived in the projects, and I'd see the difference, the projects then and the projects now. How would you compare the projects then on your time and the projects now?
Well, back then, we know how to respect each other. Now, it takes a village to raise children. Everybody has to come together as one.
Right.
And we don't have that in this generation today.
Yeah.
So this is where the time frame and the difference come in.
I see that. I see that. I do believe that people were more united back then than they
Right.
are now.
It was more of a community back then
Right.
than what it is today.
Right. Why do you think that is?
Because back then, we were raised with respect with both parents in the home.
Right.
Today, we don't have that. And the respect comes first in your home with your parents.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. I think that education, those morals come from home first.
First.
Then you get your degrees outside for like
Then you
every
branch
profession.
off, yes,
Right. Right.
exactly.
Right. Right. I agree with that. What did you like the most about your childhood?
I like just being able to come outside and play. We didn't have cell phones, iPads, TikTok. We didn't have that.
Yeah.
We came outside and we played. We jumped rope, we played tag. Versus today, these children don't know how to play outside. They don't know the concept of playing,
Yeah.
coming outside and just learning how to play.
Yeah. 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 I agree with that. I grew up in the '90s, so I could, and
Yes.
in the '90s in my country, kind of looked like the '80s, because I think things happen here, like technologies, and then it goes like once you move to something else, it goes to our countries.
Yes.
So like the '90s for me was probably like '80s for like here, So I see that, people had to go outside and interact with one another. Yeah. What was your biggest challenge growing up?
My biggest challenge growing up, just living in the projects.
Mm.
It was a challenge for us.
Why is that?
As we grow older, things began to change.
How?
It became very dangerous. We weren't able to go outside and to leave the area like we was used to doing.
Mm. What What would you say was making um, the area dangerous?
The people in the community. And I believe the people out that live outside of the community came into the community
Hmm.
to make the community a bad community
I see. See. So these were people that came from elsewhere
from elsewhere. Yes,
and just corrupted the area.
exactly.
Hmm. I see. Yeah. All right. So let's talk about your career. What is it that you do?
I work at Bronx High School of Science, and I'm a school aide.
Can Can you tell me the story on how you ended up there?
I started working in the 1980s as a police administrative aide. While I was working there, I had a hardship. During my hardship, I knew that I could not work there anymore, but I knew that there was a job for me. So, being a good worker at what I did at the police department, I grew a lot of friends. I did payroll, and some of the school safety officers that worked at Bronx High School of Science, I was their payroll secretary. So when it was time for me to resign because I had a hardship, I had a child with special needs, and I wanted to care for my child, and I knew that I could not do that working where I was working and the hours that I had to input. It wasn't meeting my needs. So one day I thought about taking a leave of absence. So I took a leave of absence, and then my leave was up. So I started to say, what will I do without a job? So I made a phone call, and that phone call led me to Bronx Science.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. That's nice. What? How does a day of work look for you? Look like for you?
At work, my day at work is great. I love what I do. I enjoy my job.
So, what are some of your daily tasks?
Well, I work in a cafeteria with children.
Awesome.
So I may have about close to about 300 children during a lunch period. So I have 4 lunch periods. And I have to make sure they scan in and out for their safety to exit in the building because we have an open campus and the doors are open. So I have to make sure my children, when they exit in the building, they have an ID. When they enter in the building, they have to have an ID also. So I'm there for safety also,
Awesome.
and to monitor our children and to watch and see what goes on in the cafeteria,
I see. I see.
and to, bond with them, have a communication with them so they can get to know who I am. So if something is going on with them, they can feel safe and come to me and talk about it, and I could move forward on to administration.
I see. Awesome. Awesome. Like that. What's your favorite thing about the job? I mean, you said, yeah. I think you mentioned it. You mentioned you like the schedule. You like.
Right. I like my schedule, and I just like working with children. I think that's a passion for me. I like working with the children, and every day it could be a challenge, but kids are kids.
Right. Yeah. 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 You have to have a level of patience for
Right.
kids. Yeah.
You have to have patience to deal with children.
I think when you do like kids, it's because you have it in you to be that patient. You're understanding. So
Right.
that's pretty cool.
And with today's generation, as they say, it is a difference. And every day is something with these children. And you just got to know how to handle it accordingly
Right.
on your level, dealing with them on their level.
Right. Yeah. How many children do you have?
I have 4 children of my own.
Right. And you say you have one with special needs.
Yes, I have a child with Down syndrome.
Can you tell me how is that like?
Well, having a children with a special need is a blessing because God gives special people special things. And he is a blessing to me in my life. It can become very challenging, but I have learned to pray and press through it all. And I treat him like a normal child. So he's high functioning Down syndrome. He does understand. And I just pray and move forward every day.
Yeah. I think that is something parents with kids that have special needs need to keep in mind to treat their children with, normalcy, right? So
Yes,
the same
that's
way.
very important
Yeah, yeah.
because you're not with them 24/7
Mhm.
and they have to come out into the outside world.
Right.
And everybody can't raise a child. Everybody can raise your child.
That's true. That's true.
So when you have to leave them among others, you would hope and pray that they don't harm your kid, but who knows? But in the same token, you have to train your child the way you want them to be trained so they can live in the outside world.
That's true. Right. So they can, even if they have special needs, they can survive without you.
Exactly.
You got to train them for the world.
Right. So that's basically what I'm doing. He's a young adult. He's 33 years old, and I'm training him.
Mm.
So if something happened to me,
They
he can live beyond me and know how to live with someone else.
Right. Right. Awesome.
And know that if someone mistreats you, you could explain yourself to someone else, and hopefully they believe you,
And they help you out.
and they will help you
Yeah.
move forward, and not just leave you there,
Yeah.
hopeless.
Amen. That's good. How would you describe yourself?
How would I describe myself? Very compassionate. I'm very patient. Good mom. Excellent wife. I'm just a people person.
That's awesome. That's nice. That's beautiful. So you're married, right?
Yes, I am.
How long you been married for?
I've been married 22 years, and we've been together for 38 years.
That's amazing. We're gonna come back to that, but let me ask you these other questions. How would you think others would describe you?
Well, I will be described as caring, have patience, don't tolerate any nonsense.
That's good.
I'm not afraid to speak my mind.
Good. Man. Awesome. Awesome. What is your biggest strength?
My biggest trend,
Yeah.
well, my biggest trend is my therapy for shopping.
Oh, okay. So you go shopping and it kind of
Yes,
ease your mind.
yes.
Okay.
I think shopping is very therapeutic for me.
Awesome.
And I really don't have to spend money, that I notice, to be in a store.
So you're just going around.
Yes,
Okay.
I've learned to just look around, and that suits me because I'm out there and this is something that I like to do. And if I feel like it's worth buying, I'll purchase it.
Why not?
Why not?
I see. I see. All right. What is your biggest weakness?
Forgiveness.
How so?
Because people can do things to people and they want you to forgive them.
Mm.
I'd rather love them from a distance and move on.
I see. Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. I agree with that.
So that's something that I'm working on with myself.
Mm. So you wish you were more forgiving?
Yes. Especially if somebody did wrong to me or if I felt that I've done wrong to somebody, I want to be able to go to them without an argument and we better be able to solve it a little better and just move on
Yeah. Yeah. I see.
instead of having bitterness because that's not solving the problem. It's not solving the issue.
Right. You think that, let's say, your inability to forgive has affected you?
Yes, it has.
In what way?
With my family, with my siblings.
Mm. You want to talk about that?
We have gone many years without speaking to one another.
Okay. See. Still not talking to each other?
Still not speaking to each other.
What do you think is gonna, let's say, break that?
When one of us step up to be the bigger person.
Mm. Okay.
When that main family in the family that kept us bond together, when that person is gone, it seems like everything just splits up a different way.
I see. Yeah. Yeah.
But we as adults, we have to learn to live past that. We have to learn to agree with one another and disagree with one another and still know that we are siblings
Yeah.
and love each other.
Yeah.
We don't have to see each other every day, but they're not speaking to each other. I think that's bad.
Yeah.
I don't feel that we're none going to get our blessings that way. Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we are all brothers and sisters, and now we interfere our children with what's going on in our lives. And it's
Yeah.
not nice.
Yeah. I agree. So, do your children hang out together, or because you guys are not speaking,
No, they do not.
they not? Okay.
Not like they should.
Not okay. I see. Are they also in the Bronx, or?
Well, now our children are off to college, and my children are out of state. So, no,
Okay.
they don't have that cousin relationship.
I see. Yeah. So, like, the distance
Right.
didn't allow them to have that
Right,
close relationship.
exactly.
Okay.
And being that the parents don't speak, they don't have a relationship like they should.
Right. Right.
As children, I grew up with my cousins. We have Cousins Day. They come over. We spend the night. We go to this aunt house, that aunt house. And it was a bond. It was a family. We didn't have no animosity with each other where we're arguing and we didn't speak for weeks, months, days, years. No, we didn't have that. Our parents didn't allow that.
Right. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we as adults, we know better.
Yeah.
But nobody wants to be the bigger part in this. So this is where we suffer.
Yeah.
Inside our hearts, we suffer.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that, speaking from experience, I went through something like that too. You know, where I didn't speak to somebody for a very long time because I was resentful, and it was
Yes.
affecting me
Yes.
in many ways. So once I let that go, even if I didn't allow them in my life, I just let it go,
Yes.
and I forgave, and I'm a free man now. I'll tell you that.
Yes.
So I didn't really have to allow them back in my life. I just forgave, let them know, hey, listen, that's all behind. But you don't have to be in my life, it's just all behind.
Exactly. So that's how I pray about it.
Yeah.
And, I ask God to just strengthen me
Yeah.
to help me deal with them in a better way. Because I will not receive my blessings if I have this animosity in my heart. And I won't be able to live the lifestyle that I want to live.
Yeah. I think forgiving is a, forgiving yourself, forgiving your siblings, even
Right.
if you don't tell them, is a good thing.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So you mentioned you were married, and you guys been together for over 30 years.
Yes.
And married for how long again?
22 years.
22 years. Can you tell me how you guys met?
Interesting. I met my husband through my sister. My sister was in the military, and my husband saved her life. Yes. They were coming down from a drill, and the truck went over a cliff, and he pulled her to safety.
And how do you guys end that up?
So he used to come and visit my sister all the time, and he would stay at my mom's house, just, visiting her, sitting down talking with her. And one day he asked my mom, where was I? And she said she's coming home soon. She works at night. So when I came in, and we were all talking together, and then we started talking and we started dating, and that's how I got involved with my husband.
Awesome, awesome. 32 years is a very long time.
Yes.
That's a very long
It's a very long time.
That is awesome. That's a blessing. How do you think you maintain a good marriage that lasts that long?
Well, he's the opposite. He's a very quiet guy versus me.
Right.
I'm not quiet.
So would you say like the opposite side of each other complements?
Yes, the
one
opposite.
another?
It has its pros and cons. It weighs itself out. He's quiet. I'm not. When I'm quiet, sometimes he may not be, but most of the time, he's a quiet guy.
Okay.
He's a quiet guy. He's a family guy. He likes to do family things. He's a very hard worker.
Right.
Extremely hard. He loves to work. And he worked days, I worked nights, then I worked nights, then he worked days. So,
Yeah.
we work together to raise our children, and
That's awesome.
we just maintain our marriage through our children, through our family, and
Right.
we're very supportive with each other with that, because it takes a village to raise your children, and to raise children you need your parents in a home so they could be supportive. So when they have their children, they will know that my mom and dad was there for us.
Yeah.
I want the same for my children.
Yeah. I see. That's nice. That's nice. That's nice. That's awesome. All right. So, what is your passion? Do you have a passion?
My passion, shopping.
All right.
I love to cook. I love to help and serve.
Okay.
My passion, I would say, is caring for the disabled.
You know what's funny? My next question is, how did you discover that was your passion, right? But obviously, I think it explains itself, right?
Right.
Because of,
And I just love what I do.
Okay.
I love what I do. Everybody cannot do this job. It takes a heart.
I agree.
It takes a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot that you have to give up, that you have to, first you have to educate yourself when you're dealing with anything. You have to educate yourself.
Yeah.
And I had to learn to educate myself to deal with my situation. Because I not only have a child with Down syndrome who is disabled, developmentally delayed, I also am a sister to my sister who is blind, developmentally disabled.
Wow.
And she needs me. My mom adopted her when she was 10 months, and it was very challenging to us, to see my mom care for this child who is blind, who is developmentally delayed.
Mm-hmm.
She's developmentally delayed, and she's on the spectrum, I would say, as a 10-year-old, probably less than a 10-year-old in certain areas.
Mm.
So when my mom passed away, that was the last thing she said to me, was to take care of your sister and your brother.
Yeah.
So now I had to step in to be a mom, to be a wife, a caretaker to 3 individuals that really count on me day by day. My brother is a blessing. He was shot in the head point blank, and he survived. He spent a year in a coma, which they wanted my mother to pull the plug, and she refused. There is a God, because she never once thought in her mind that her son was not going to make it. And he made it. He has a traumatic brain injury, but he can stand today and tell his story. So I feel they need me more than anything in the world. They need me.
Absolutely. I agree.
And with all that being said, I am going to take care of them no matter what. I'm a 10-year cancer survivor, and I give God all the thanks, because beyond anything, he has the last say-so to everything that I go through, everything that I deal with. So I just keep pushing every day, and I just go with it.
Let's talk about your brother a little bit, if you don't mind. Is he living with you, or?
Yes, he does.
Okay. Is that due to the injury?
Yes.
Okay. At what age did that happen to him?
That happened to him actually 30 years ago.
Wow.
30 years.
30 years ago. Palm Sunday, 30 years ago. We got the phone call and said my brother was shot. But we didn't know where until we got to the hospital. They said at the wrong place at the wrong time.
How old was he again?
He was in his 30s.
Okay. And how was that like for you, having to care for him after that?
Well, we see my mother struggle, seeing her son just laying there, somebody doing this to him, and we don't know who did it. They never found the person
Wow.
who shot my brother.
Wow.
So it could be somebody now that we know who's walking the streets every day
Like nothing happened.
like nothing happened.
Wow. So there was no police investigation, or?
There were police investigation, but not enough evidence.
I see. Okay. I understand. Wow. Okay, so and you also said you were a 10-year cancer survivor.
Yes, I am.
Okay, what type of cancer was it?
I have breast cancer. 10 years ago, I was diagnosed. It was something small that turned out a little bigger than what I thought it would be.
How did you end up in the getting diagnosed by it? So like what were the symptoms that you had?
I didn't have no symptoms at all. I went to the doctor for an exam,
I see.
and the doctor felt it. And he asked me, "Did you ever feel this?" And I'm like, feel what? Is this man insane?
Mm.
I didn't feel anything, nothing of the thought. To this day, I don't even think that I had breast cancer
Right.
because I never felt anything.
Right. And how was the process of healing for you?
The process, the beginning stage of the process was very hard. To diagnose me having cancer, knowing that my plate is full. Who's going to weigh this for me with my children, my husband? How am I going to explain this to them? How am I going to come through this?
Right.
So when they told me I had breast cancer and I did the consultation and, I went forth with everything that they had to do. They did several testing and genetic testing and all types of tests that I had to take. And then they said I needed to take chemotherapy.
Mm.
Such a mind blow. So they tell you all these things that will happen to you while on chemotherapy. They tell you all these things that will happen to you in the process of the cancer. Then you had to process all of this. So I did chemo. I can tell you that is one of the hardest thing to deal with. I had 7 chemo treatments. Then after the treatment, I had a healing process for 3 weeks. Then I went straight into surgery. I went into surgery to clean up what was left from the chemo. Thank to God. They removed lymph nodes from my arm, under my arm, and there was no cancer found at all. Then with that healing, another 3 weeks, I had to do 37 rounds of radiation from Monday to Friday, 7 minutes under ultraviolet light. Very hard.
Wow.
There were days where it would just sweep you up from your feet, from you being so weak. Your body is weak. Then you have this burning sensation to your skin. Then you go through a depression because you lost your hair, your teeth are shifted, your nails, your toenails are black, your fingernails, you started getting, you can't eat, and just the body pain from all of what's going into your body was just extremely a lot.
Right.
But
There's a God.
through God,
Yeah.
I'm here. Through it all, it was a process. But God is a healer.
You're very strong.
Yes.
I would say that. That's my perception of you.
Thank you.
That's how I would describe you hearing that story. So, what are you most proud of?
I'm proud of me being who I am
Awesome.
and accepting everything that I had to accept to make me as strong as I am.
Awesome.
And to knowing that God is on my side and He's not going to leave me nor forsake me.
Awesome. I like that.
And through His stripes, I am healed.
All right. And what are you least proud of?
What am I least proud of? I'm least proud of I would say me letting people make me down
See.
and not forgiving them the way God would want me to forgive them.
Yeah.
To know that If I don't forgive, I'm not going to receive my blessings.
Right.
So I'm not proud of that. But I'm in a working process.
Yeah.
And every day I pray about it.
Amen.
Because life is not promised to no one. To no one. You're here today and gone tomorrow.
That is true.
Then what?
That's true. All right. What is something people wouldn't know about you unless you tell them?
Well, when I tell them my story, they don't know all of that. Because I don't show it from the outside. But it's here within.
Yeah.
I don't just walk around telling my story. Because I get up every day. I get a gift every day. God wakes me up every day. And that's the biggest gift that you can have. And I go on with my day with a daily prayer. And I make it happen. I go to work every day.
Yeah.
With all the things that I have to do before I even get there. But I get there.
And what advice would you give your younger self?
Never give up. Keep pushing. Put God first in your life and just go for it.
Awesome. I like that. And this is the last question. What advice would you give the youth of today?
Obey your parents. Be respectful.
All right. This is it. That was a great interview. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Awesome.